Kansas City Chiefs 10 and the San Diego Chargers 3 in a rainy, soggy Arrowhead game. The second home game at Arrowhead Stadium where the weather sucked, but the Chiefs had to persevere. It was tough, but they did so. It's tough when you have to come to Arrowhead Stadium to play, and you have to battle not only the opposing team but Mother Nature. And for the second home game as well, the Chiefs did it. It's tough. You know, you implement a game plan all week long. You devise schemes and plays on what you're going to do to attack your opponent. Well, guess what happens? Shit hits the fan. It starts raining cats and dogs. And for the second home game in a row, the Chiefs had to deal with these elements. Props to them. Props to them for taking over, dealing with the rain, dealing with Mother Nature, and winning these games. Freaking tough game. Game ball, D Ford, baby. How about him stepping up, making those plays, looking like the first round draft pick that we took out of Auburn last year? Freaking love that kid. He's going to be great. He's got a great future. The Chiefs currently stand 8-5, the fifth seed for the wild card spot. They're probably going to have to win out. Let's face it, folks. The Jets and Steelers don't look like they're slowing down at all. They look like they're going to be a team that there could be a team that could be finished 11-5 and not make the playoffs. Right now, that would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. But if the Chiefs went out, they'll be the fifth seed. If the Jets went out, they'll be the sixth seed. If the Steelers went out, they're going to be sitting at home at 11-5. So while I said 3 weeks ago the Kansas City Chiefs had to go 7-1 to make the playoffs, I think they're going to have to go 8-0. So we're going to have to win next week in Baltimore. It's going to be tough. But we're going to have to take the same attitude, take the same momentum, take the same defensive mindset that, you know what, you're not going to score on us. That's what I like about this team. That's what you like about this team. That's what we love about this team. And let me stress the fact again one more time, because this is freaking important. The Chiefs had to battle Mother Nature and their opponent the last two home games. That's tough. That is freaking tough. And it wasn't just a little rainstorm. It was a freaking monsoon. It's freaking tough to throw the ball. It's tough to make those plays. And I want to say props to the Kansas City Chiefs fans who have not only been to today's game, but were at the Buffalo Bills game, who sat out there in the sucky weather and said, you know what, I'm going to come cheer for my freaking team. Props to you, Chiefs fans. This freaking win is for you that went out there and battled this bullshit weather 2 home games in a row. As I mentioned, the Chiefs stand 8-5, 7 wins in a row, the hottest team in the AFC at this particular time. Going forward, you know, it's something to be happy about. Now let's look at some negatives of today's game. With the Chiefs up 10-0 at halftime, the Chiefs opened at the second half kickoff. Within 3 minutes, they drove the ball to the San Diego Chargers 28-yard line. Facing 3rd and 10, Alex Smith threw a slant pattern to Kelsey. It would have been a first down. He dropped it. If he would have kept that drive alive, the Chiefs probably could have got a touchdown and buried the Chargers. It wouldn't even have been a close game. Kelsey, you've got to catch that ball, because on the very next play, it was a 46-yard field goal attempt. Winchester, the long snapper, had a bad snap. Dustin Colquitt, who, as I mentioned last week, is having trouble getting the snaps down, couldn't get it down. Kick, no good. Momentum changed because the Chargers went right down to the field, drove to the 12-yard line and settled for a 30-yard field goal, made it 10-3. That meant game on. Chiefs weren't burying them. That means the freaking game is still on. There's still a lot of things that could happen, but you know what? The defense persevered. They made plays happen. Props to freaking Alex Smith for making some freaking sweet passes. His read on his 44-yard touchdown pass to Albert Wilson was clutch. The Chargers defense were all lined up in man. The safety was up towards the line of scrimmage showing blitz. Alex Smith audibleized out of it. Hit Albert Wilson to his left on a quick slant. He's gone. Touchdown, Kansas City. Loved it. Loved what I saw the last 2 minutes of the first half when the Chiefs scored their 10 points. And D Ford, man, how sweet is that kid? As I mentioned, man, he could freaking fly around that corner. He's got the Derek Thomas first step. All he's got to do is work on some some things that I'm sure he's going to work on, and he's going to be a fine player. You know, we're going to Baltimore next week. I think they started Jimmy Clausen today as their quarterback. They got their ass stomped at home by the Seahawks, so you can't take them lightly, because any opponent the Chiefs face, they're going to want to win, because the Chiefs aren't playing any opponents that have a winning record. So they see the Kansas City Chiefs coming to town. Baltimore's going to see the Kansas City Chiefs coming to town, winning 7 games in a row, and they're going to be thinking, okay, well, our season sucks, but we want to stop this 7-game winning streak. So the Chiefs have to be fundamentally sound. They have to have a game plan set that's going to work, and they should. They may be battling Mother Nature. Baltimore in December, it could be 20 below. They could be dealing with a snowstorm, sleet, who knows. But the Chiefs have to continue the strong set. They got to continue this drive. They got to continue what they're doing. And I'm freaking super stoked for this team. I'm sure all Chiefs fans are as well. And as I mentioned earlier, in the last few weeks, Tom Bahali's the freaking man. Tom Bahali's the freaking man. I love this guy. He's got heart and soul. He took a pay cut, as I mentioned in previous shows. Tom Bahali took a pay cut to stay with the Kansas City Chiefs this season. He could have went anywhere else and got millions of dollars, but he restructured his contract, taking a pay cut. He didn't care. He was humble. He took a pay cut to stay with the Chiefs. And in today's athletes, we see it with the Royals. We saw Ben Zobrist take a contract with the Chicago Cubs because he wanted the money. He was only in Kansas City for 2.5 months, but he wanted the money. He wanted the fame. His wife's a Christian singer. I go to church too, and I sing, so I guess I'm a Christian singer as well. But I'm not as good as her, obviously. But my point is, Tom Bahali's a humble cat, and not a lot of athletes are humble. Just look at Neil Smith at the end of the 1996 season. He saw Derek Thomas's contract. He wanted some of that money too. And when Carl Peterson wasn't going to give him Derek Thomas's contract, he said, I want to be. His contract went up and he went on to the Denver Broncos, which sucked. But if I could have what I want to do right now, I want to go out and buy a Tom Bahali jersey, even if he retires after this year. I want to own it just because of the fact that he's humble. He's not just, he didn't just take a pay cut just to stand on the sidelines and be inactive for 8 of the 10 games. He's playing his freaking ass off. And props to him, man. Props to Tom Bahali. The freaking guy, he's a humble cat, and I love his attitude. And I wish Kansas City Royals and the Kansas City Chiefs had more athletes like Tom Bahali. Love that guy, man. All right, let's hope the Kansas City Chiefs can take this momentum into Baltimore next week, battle the elements, battle what they got to do, because they got to keep winning to end up in the playoffs. Until next week, I'm Shaggyshane. Go Chiefs.